Hey guys, it's Brianna. Today I have a little book haul. I have a bunch of books to show you guys. I got them all on thriftbooks.com. Each was about $3.79, so some of them are not in the best condition, but I did manage to get 20 books for $73. So I think it was a pretty good deal. All of these books are actually childhood favorites of mine. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, getting a bunch of my old favorites from middle school and late elementary school and rereading them and just kind of seeing how my perspective has changed and how I feel about them now. And kind of reliving some of those good times in the current state of affairs. So the first one I'll show you is this one. It is called The Gold Threaded Dress by Carolyn Marston. I read this in, I want to say, the 3rd grade, and I actually just finished rereading it. It's very short. It's 73 pages, and the font is quite big. The spacing is very large. It's obviously made for children. It says ages 7 to 9 on the back. And this was honestly a lovely book. Because the girl that it follows, she's Thai, and her family has moved from Thailand, and then they moved schools after she moved to the United States, and she is struggling to fit in because her previous school had more Asians, and her new school, she's the only one in her whole class, and she's just feeling very left out and trying to fit in, and she brings her traditional Thai dress, the gold threaded dress, to school when the popular girl asks her to, and her and the other girls end up ruining it. And honest, even though it's written so simplistically and it's intended for a young child, there's still a lot of depth to the character. Oi, her name is Oi, and you really understand what she's going through. And I mean, anyone who in elementary school, if you kind of were teased or didn't have a lot of friends, I think you can relate to it, even if you can't relate to the cultural aspect. The woman who wrote this book, actually, it says in the back, it says that she wrote it for her daughter, who's half Thai, because her Carolyn's husband is Thai. When her daughter was being teased in school, and then the author is also an elementary school teacher, so she kind of really captures the dynamic of young children very well. Okay, I've been talking about that one for a couple minutes now. Let's move on because we have a lot of books to get through. Next is Princess Academy by Shannon Hale. It has been a very long time since I read this, obviously. I think I read it in the 4th grade. We had to read a book with a certain amount of pages, I think is what it was. This one is 314 pages. I loved this book when I read it. I actually read it twice when I was still at that school. And in my 4th grade year, we actually moved to a different town. And the first book that I checked out from the library after we moved was this book. So it kind of helped me through that transition period in the 4th grade. So I'm excited to reread that one. I should tell you what it's about. So it's about a girl named Miri. She's kind of in like a rural mountain town. It's not clear where they are. It's kind of more of a, not, I wouldn't say like fantasy as in there's like lots of magic everywhere, but like kind of like medieval style fantasy. So she's in a rural mountain town where like before technology kind of thing. And the prince is like of marrying age, kind of like, they're all like younger, like in their teens, but not like babies. But the Princess Academy is, they want to take girls from all over the kingdom and like put them through, or maybe it was from that town, but I think it was like all over the kingdom, and put them through training to learn like how the court works, learn how to read and write, and different things like that. And then at the end of their schooling, the prince would come. Well, they would have like a dance with a bunch of people, and no one would know who the prince was, and he would pick someone to be like his bride. One thing, well, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. I'll do a review when I reread it. Okay, next is I've Lived 1,000 Years by Livia Bitten Jackson. This is a book that I read for school in the 8th grade. The middle school I went to, every year in 8th grade, the language arts class, they would do a Holocaust thing. For like the last quarter of the year, they would all, like every class would read a Holocaust book. Everyone had to do either some kind of report or project around the Holocaust. So I had the advanced class. Everyone else was reading The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. And my class, we read this. And this is an amazing book. The main character is 13. Well, the main character, I say. But this is actually a memoir or an autobiography. I think it's more technically a memoir. And she kind of recounts her experiences in several different camps during World War II, during the Holocaust. It's very harrowing, you know. I mean, we all know. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm sorry. Okay, these next 3 are books that were the Sunshine State books in my 5th grade year. That was the only year I read Sunshine State books, and these were the only books I read. And something about Sunshine State books, if you're not from Florida, Sunshine State is a kind of set of books that they pick out every year for different groups of grades. So like I think these are like 3rd to 5th or something like that. And they're just kind of like award-winning books that they think everyone should try and read, kind of deal. And a lot of schools would do like prizes or whatever if you read all of them, or if you read the most out of your class or something like that. But it's a thing in Florida, if I didn't mention that. But the thing about them is that they're always kind of like cheesy from the outside, but then like at least these 3 that I read, they're actually pretty good. This one is Roxy and the Hooligans. It's a bit of a weird one. The main character has like abnormally large ears, and she kind of gets in with these other kids who are like the bad kids, like that kind of thing. I really don't remember much about it. It has some illustrations, which is cool. I haven't read an illustrated book in probably since I read this one, not counting like Harry Potter. And then this one is Listen. It's about a girl who had a leg injury and completely shattered her legs, and when she's going through rehabilitation, she meets a wild abused dog, and like they kind of bond kind of deal, you know, like boy and his dog kind of thing, only it's a girl and a dog. The dog is wild and the girl is in rehabilitation from a leg injury. So I remember it made me cry. So looking forward to that. This one is Rules by Will Brownie. Sorry, that's some kid's name in the corner. Cynthia Lord. Oh. This one's Phyllis Reynolds Naylor. And this one's Stephanie S. Tolan. Sorry, I forgot to tell you the authors. This one is about a 12-year-old girl whose younger brother has autism. I really don't remember that much about it, other than it made me cry. I read the entire book in a Sunday, sitting on the driveway at my aunt's house. I don't know why I sat in the driveway and read it, but that's what I did. And I read the whole thing in one day, and I cried my eyes out. So, looking forward to that too. Okay, this is A Crooked Kind of Perfect by Linda Irvin. I don't remember this one super well. I think I got it as a free book at my elementary and middle school when I lived in Vero Beach, Florida. They had a thing where, like, if you got a certain amount of AR points in the year, then you got to go to a little thing at the library and pick out a free book. I think I got this one in 6th grade, because 5th grade I got Green Angel by Alice Hoffman, which I kind of wish I had remembered to include in this order, because it's one of my all-time favorites. I used to read that book over and over and over. But since it's not here, I won't tell you more. Okay, these next 3 are a series. If you're familiar with Holly Black, you might have read them. I read these in the 6th grade. I hate that I got this edition. I thought I chose the one that matches these, but I got this one. I might end up replacing it someday, but not now. But these are actually about fairies in, like, the vein of, like, the Fae, as in, like, English and, like, Celtic mythology. And it's about a girl named Kay who's 16, who finds out that she's actually a changeling and kind of gets caught up in court drama. I believe these were written before Twilight. Let's see. Where's that publication year? 2002. I love that. I think a lot of these are older, actually. I know this one was 2002. Princess Academy, 2005. I've Lived 1,000 Years, 1999. Roxy, 06. That was the year my dad died. 06. This one's probably also 06 because I think they were like from the previous year kind of deal. This one, where's the year? 2007. Okay. So yeah, this one was 2002. Since these are from my childhood, they're all like 2000s or older. But I remember really enjoying this series. It had like kind of a big impact on me in the 6th grade. That was my scene phase. That was the height of my vampire obsession. And this kind of like made me a little more well-rounded in amongst all the vampire books. I was very disappointed that after reading these, I could not find any other books with fairies. I think they are more common now, but back then the only ones I knew of were the Artemis Fowl series, which I tried reading and hated, and the books by something Brennan, like the the Fairy Queen or the Purple Butterfly, something like that. I don't remember it that well, but I never read that. Okay, next are two series that are like in single things. Omnibus, I think is the term. This one is like less of a series and more of books in the same universe. You might see one or two characters in multiple books. I read these in my vampire phase in 6th grade. The very first book in here was the author Amelia Atwater Rhodes. I love her books. I've read so many of them. It's ridiculous. After I reread all her old ones, I'm going to get her newer ones. So the first one here in this book is In the Forests of the Night, written in 1999. Demon in My View, published 2000. Shattered Mirror, published 01. Midnight Predator, published 02. And I read these in 2006, so that 2009 in 6th grade. 09, yeah, like 08, 09, something like that. No, 09 to 2010, because, yeah, I'm not explaining my thought process. We'll be here all night. I actually never read In the Forest of the Night. My middle school library only had the other 3 books. So I still have never read In the Forest of the Night, so that one will be a new addition. They're a little cringy. I think the author wrote them when she was like 15, I think is when she wrote the first one. So it's very much something the weird goth girl in your high school would have written in 1999. I have a lot of respect for that. I don't know, I feel like this song I'm likely to get copyrighted on. I don't even know if you can hear the music I'm listening to, but okay. Next is an actual series by her called, the title says the Shapeshifters, but when I was reading them in separate books, it was the Kiesha Ra series. So this has some very heavy world building. It's very reminiscent of like Egyptian, not mythology necessarily, but like more of the culture. Well, one part of it is kind of like, it's okay. In the universe, there's like different groups of shapeshifters. So like there's bird people, I think they're called avians, yeah. And then there's snake people called serpent. And then there's people who are like falcons. And then later on in the series, there are some who are wolves. And like, so the first book follows the princess from the avian culture, from the avian princess and the serpent prince. And basically they had, like, their two cultures have been at war for many, many years, to the point where no one is even sure why. And so they go to like a neutral group who are actually like lion shapeshifters, or maybe they were like tigers, but they're never mentioned, or they're only mentioned a handful of other times because their significance is that they're a neutral party. But they go there, and the cat people basically suggest that they do like a political marriage to bring peace. And the thing with the serpent is that they are strongly against any kind of union that doesn't have love. Like, they're very focused on like passion and things like that. And the avian culture is very like conservative and uptight kind of thing. So like they just clash a lot. Sorry. It's late. So I really loved this series back in the day, and each book is like from a different character's perspective. So the first one is the avian princess Danica, the second one is the serpent prince Zane, right? The names are a little like But other than that, I really like it. And when you get into the third book and later, the kind of like world building gets even more interesting. So you kind of see what's outside of the avian and serpent kingdom. They're not kingdoms, tribes. But yeah, okay. And then next, I have 4, 5, 6 books by this author, Ron Corgi. I don't know. I've never known how to pronounce his name. I never figured it out. That. I think I found one of his books. It was one of these two, either Confessorama or the Harmony Arms. And I found them in, I think, the public library in 6th or 7th grade. And I really, really liked it. It kind of moved me almost, I guess. And I saw that he had a lot of books. So I just kind of read all of the ones I could get my hands on. There are other books of his that I never have read, but I managed to get all of the ones that I have read before, so I will reread them, and then maybe I will venture out into his other books, but maybe, I don't know. So the Harmony Arms, this one is from, this is like, look at this. This is from a library. I love getting old library books, especially these ones that are from like the other side of the country. 1992, Confessorama. 1996, Boy, Girl, Boy. 2005. This one is like one of those alternating perspectives, so it's like about 3 friends, a boy, a girl, and a boy, and it like alternates between their perspectives throughout the whole book. I really like this like 50s pop culture-ness on the cover. I think this is the same cover as the one I read back in the day. And then there's Strays, which, look at, I don't know if you can really see it, but there's like this hunky dude with this like chain link fence pattern, and then a little dog is the A. This cover is just so cheesy. 2007. I remember this one made me cry. I think it's about like a foster kid or something. I had such a thing for like anything that was about like foster kids or like kids who have shitty lives, you know? This one is Stoner and Spaz. So it's about a guy with cerebral palsy who makes friends with like one of the school stoners, and they like, this one's like more of a romance than the other books are. But there's actually a sequel to this one, which I never read. Severina Park High School Media Center. Oh, I love that. And this one was written in 2002. And the last from this author is Marco with an X. Oh my god. This summary. She's drop dead gorgeous, has a razor sharp wit, and is a charter member of the school's most popular clique. Margot, with an X, is the dream catch of every teenage male within her radar. Encouraged by her caustic friend Sarah, she's perfected the art of the sarcastic tease while keeping her sweaty palm suitors just far enough at bay. It's a dreary game, But at least she's not home with Mom, the shopping channel addict, Dad, the professional gambler, and a certain haunting secret from her past. Then along comes Danny Riley. What a name. A scrawny, weak-chinned, animal-loving oddball with a quaint, chivalrous streak. A kind-hearted kid who can match her banter to the polysyllable and who harbors a few painful memories of his own. Oh. This was written in 2004. That's gonna be a wild ride. And I have 2 books left. So these I actually read in ninth grade, early in high school. But they kind of like fit the vibe of at least the Ron K books. I'm calling him Ron K. And like some of the books I read when I was a kid. So the first one is Confessions of a Serial Kisser. Oh, that was ugly. By Wendelin Van Draanen. My original copy of this that I had in high school, it wasn't like hardcover with the dust cover. It was like literally cardboard with this printed on. And I got it from the doctor's office. Like, I had a pediatric appointment and they dead ass give me this fucking book. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this looks so dumb. Like, who in their right mind is gonna read this fucking book? Me. So I read it and it was actually pretty good. There's a sticker on it that I'm peeling off. So it's about a girl named Evangeline Bianca Logan. What a name. These white girl names, honestly. I actually like the name Evangeline. It sounds really cool. I knew a girl in middle and high school named Evangelia, which is like a Greek name. Anyways, so she finds a stash of her mom's like romance novels, and there's one called The Crimson Kiss, and she is reading the description of like what the Crimson Kiss is, and she's like, that's what I want that. So then she starts like just kissing boys left and right, like kind of like in that movie Easy A, but kissing and not pretending to have sex with guys. This was published in 2008, so when it came into my hands, it was actually a little old. I'm almost at the 30-minute mark, so I'm moving on. So this is Once Was Lost by Sarah Zarr, which, this is actually a Christian book, which I never realized until after I started reading it. I got it at the Dollar Tree for $1, when I first had it. This is obviously an old, library book. This card. No one was reading it. Ooh, Clearwater. That's in Florida. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Okay. So, the main character is, like, the pastor's daughter, and her mom got a DUI, and so her mom is in rehab. And then, when a young girl in her small town goes missing, the local tragedy overlaps with Sam's personal one, and the already worn thread of faith holding her together begins to unravel. So it's kind of like everything's falling apart, why should I believe in God kind of stuff, which is not my jam usually, but I do remember really liking this book. I feel like books like that are kind of hit and miss with me. Like any kind of media like that is very hit and miss with me, because with like religious media, there's like a point where the religious aspect is the main thing, and then there's like times when the religious aspect is like part of it. It's like the main character in this book, her whole identity isn't that she's Christian. Like, she's very well rounded. Sometimes Christian media, I haven't exactly read other religious media, so I can't really attest to that, but I did grow up going to like 5,000 different churches. So I've seen all kinds of Christians, and you know, they're regular people. Like, their whole life isn't surrounded around the fact that they're Christian and that they believe in God. Like, there's so much more to people than that. And this book really shows that. It, like, I feel like putting myself in her shoes, because, like, that's what I like to do when I read books. I like to put myself in whoever the main character's shoes are, or someone else in the book even, and, like, try to understand their motivations and why they do this, why they do that, and I just zone in. And, like, I can really understand, like, if I was a pastor's daughter, and, you know, there's a lot of pressure from that, to, like, act a certain way and be a certain way. And, like, when you're kind of pressured to be a certain way in any aspect, not just being the pastor's daughter, it's very restricting, and then you can't really grow as your own person in the way that you should be able to. And just, like, I could sympathize with that. I can't really remember much else about the book. But anyways, that is all of the books that I got. It's lots of books. This video is very long, and I kind of decided I'm not editing videos. I'm just gonna put them out there, so hopefully someone will watch this over 30-minute video of me sitting here talking about random books nobody's heard of. Bye.